All right. I am Thomas Paulson. It is January 28th, 2023, and this is, I guess, the second and final Case Connections video assignment. And for this assignment, I chose to go over cases 1 and 2. So I will get right into that right now. So in case 1, right, we're dealing with a newborn girl, and she suffers from lethargy, apnea, and hypothermia after 24 hours of what was an otherwise normal birth. And the doctors speculate some type of metabolic disorder. So I guess for starters, we'll discuss the mechanism of ammonia transfer and kind of how that's relevant here. So we know that ammonia plays an important role in our bodies as it serves as a building block for different molecules. One of ammonia's most important uses is that it gets processed in the liver to form waste products known as urea. Ammonia can also be added to molecules to produce amino acids and glutamate. Ammonia and glutamate can react together with the help of enzyme glutamine synthetase that helps load ammonia to form glutamine. The unloading of ammonia is done with the help of enzyme glutaminase, where ammonia and glutamate are produced from glutamine. Additionally, glutamate can be used as substrate to produce alpha-ketoglutarate and ammonia in a reversible reaction which is catalyzed by glutamate dehydrogenase. Transamination is the process of producing non-essential amino acids and redistributing amino groups. For example, the transamination of amino acids can help concentrate nitrogen in glutamate. We're asked in the fasted state, how are nitrogen transport and gluconeogenesis going to be related? So the answer to that is that in the fasted state, we know that we're going to be low on carbs, and we're going to need other fuel or other ways to power our actions, right? So this is when nitrogen is carried to the liver from muscle tissue. This transport requires alanine and converts nitrogen into pyruvate through transamination. This pyruvate will be used for gluconeogenesis, as we have discussed extensively in this course. The amino group's fate is to become urea, and this whole process is known as the glucose-alanine cycle. Getting back on track with the case, it says more analysis shows elevated orotic acid in urine and normal plasma citrulline levels. Which urea cycle enzyme is likely deficient and which enzyme is likely not impaired in this scenario? So here, as it's stated, according to all that, and what I was able to come up with is that it's most likely that we have an ornithine transcarbamylase deficiency. This urea cycle enzyme regulates carbamoyl phosphate, which is responsible for formation of orotic acid. In its absence, there are going to be elevated levels of orotic acid as it's collected, which is consistent with this case. Alternatively, arginase will remain relatively unaltered, as elevation of urea and absence of ornithine transcarbamylase have little to no effect on this enzyme. There we go. And then the final part of case 1 is due to this deficiency, which amino acid becomes essential? And the answer to that is arginine. So arginine would become an essential amino acid in this scenario, and this is due to the lack of citrulline produced. This void would make the entire cycle deficient, and the production of arginine would be jeopardized. Thus, it is now an essential amino acid. This happens really anytime elevated levels of orotic acid are seen in the urine. So that's kind of our indicator there. So that's it for case 1. Moving on to case 2, it's a little different. We're given 3 different scenarios, and in each of those scenarios, I'll discuss the relevant enzymes, the metabolism that's happening involving those enzymes, and also how they're all diseases or some type of complication and how these can be treated. through supplementation, like vitamins and things like that. So in the first case, it's a baby, right? So there's a normal baby delivery, complication free. They're in the hospital, they get sent home after 3 days. However, while continued testing occurs, even though they're gone, they see at 9 days branch chain amino acids. And this family has no history of genetic disease. Here, which enzyme is deficient and which amino acid is no longer being metabolized when we have, those branch chain amino acids. And in this scenario, it's most likely that the enzyme that's deficient is enzyme complex branch chain alpha keto acid dehydrogenase, because this enzyme is the one that breaks down valine, isoleucine, and leucine. But that is not happening in this scenario, right? So these amino acids are now deemed essential as they're not, being metabolized. So, so the next question is which amino acids are essential? Yeah, we just answered that it's leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Those are the ones now. Those are the amino acids that, are not being made. So, which vitamin supplements could be helpful treating this condition, and which steps of metabolism would they help with particularly? So the answer to that is, in order to reverse or fix this type of issue, a patient should be supplemented with thiamine. And that's because this supplement is used as it helps one increase their tolerance of the 3 now essential amino acids, being leucine, isoleucine, and valine. So, those guys are going to be more prevalent. So it's important that we use thiamine, because, one's tolerance to that, their overall tolerance is increased when we use that as the supplement. So that's case 1. Moving on to, that's still case 2. I guess that's the first part of case 2. So moving on to the second part of case 2, we have a 69-year-old woman who's been having a 30-year battle with lower back, shoulder, and hip pain. Prior scans showed aortic stenosis. However, more recent scans are also showing blue-gray pigmented macules on ear cartilage and on the sclera. So here, which enzymes are going to be deficient and which amino acids are not being metabolized? So the answer here is the scenario is indicative of someone who is, it's hard to say, homogentisate 1,2 dioxygenase deficient. This causes accumulation of homogentisic acid, which is no longer being metabolized by that enzyme. So which amino acids are now essential? And the answer to that is the amino acids phenylalanine and tyrosine are regularly metabolized into other molecules, but with the known enzyme deficiency, they are not. Therefore, phenylalanine and tyrosine are now essential amino acids. And the last part of this second scenario is which vitamin supplements, or how can we treat this condition, and what part of the metabolism are they going to help with? And the answer to that is vitamin C supplementation. And this has been shown to be pretty effective in alleviating certain issues that those with, it's called alkaptonuria ochronosis deal with. So this vitamin is known to hinder deposition and compilation of homogentisic acid in the body. However, through the study that I did, it was shown that there are fears that this is not a good long-term solution. So hopefully they find a better solution here shortly. Moving on to the final part of case 2, and this will be it. So in this scenario, a 4-day-old girl is being seen in clinic. At birth, she was 5.9 pounds. The delivery was normal, but the tests are showing elevated levels of phenylalanine, about 3 times more phenylalanine than is normal in newborns. So here, we're going to go over which enzyme is deficient and which amino acid is not being metabolized. So the answer here is the deficiency is in phenylalanine hydroxylase, and this is going to leave phenylalanine unmetabolized. So the essential, or the amino acid that is now essential, due to phenylalanine no longer being metabolized, is tyrosine, because it's no longer produced, and because that's phenylalanine's job. So tyrosine is now the essential amino acid. And the last part is, how are we going to treat this? What vitamins can be supplemented with, and what area of metabolism are they going to affect, to cause one to get better? So the answer to that is the known treatment of this condition is simply the supplementation of phenylalanine and vitamin B. There should also be an emphasis on low protein, as this condition makes it hard to metabolize. Through the supplementation and diet, the right amounts of administered phenylalanine would be able to, metabolize the molecules that the body, that you, being the one with this disease, would be given. And some certain proteins are just too complex for the phenylalanine to deal with. But that does it for the final video presentation of this unit, and I guess of this class. Thank you.